All right, good evening. So on the attendee list right now, I'm only seeing Adrian Baca. Um, Valente, could you unmute Adrian, please? Hey, good evening, Adrian. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I sure can.
Did you attend on Monday?
Yes, that was me.
That's what I thought. You're the only attendee right now.
Cool. Does that mean whatever I suggest just goes through automatically?
Well, I mean, if you can convince the commission, yes, I suppose. No, I am 100% happy to sit here and deliver the talk again. Um, if you would like to see it, or if there are others there with you that want to see it, but
No, I don't have any buddies with me here today or anything like that. And to be honest, I kind of saw if we were just going to go over the rule changes again, like you had mentioned, I don't really need to see those. But for sure, I'm still here to advocate for maybe turning one of our lakes or ponds into like a catch and keep. I'm sorry, not catch and keep. Strictly just catch and release. That way we can have like a maybe a trophy fishery, something like the San Juan.
right. So I think on Monday you mentioned a few places that I recall. Cherie, was it Morphe, Maloya, and there was another, right?
There was Santa Cruz, Morphe, Monastery as well. I kind of thought, but uh, as I was just sitting here thinking about it, I thought it might be a good idea uh, if it was a lake that had a good presence of like like a state park office there, or something that they can kind of keep an eye on people a little bit. So, you know how people are when they get to catch big fish. They're not gonna release them unless someone's watching them. You know what I mean? So I think
Um,
Morphe Lake seems to have usually a lot of presence over there. Santa Cruz Lake has the office up at the top where they people check in and out every day. So that lake, all Santa Cruz, also has a lot of good parking there. Could be good for the area, maybe bad for the area, but I would assume if you guys ever took a chance on it and just did it somewhere, it's going to be really popular, and it's going to be something like the San Juan. And it for I would say all the people that I know, we're just out there to go fish and catch and release and have fun, man. We don't need to take home any fish. We're not even interested in it at all. But maybe
yeah,
with
so I
your
think we
guys'
understand.
suggestion, yeah. Maybe with your guys'
Oh,
suggestion, you can help me push this forward. Maybe you can make some suggestions so I can keep kind of running with this, and maybe we can come together on maybe just narrowing in on a reservoir that maybe this could possibly happen at.
yeah, like we talked about. I mean, we're collecting comments for sure, and that's the most important thing. Would be for you and others that just comment and definitely. I mean, we've recorded it. We had it from the first meeting. Um, you know, it would be the very best if we got it by email. But you know, all of the comments, yours included, will be considered, and then those comments, whether we translate them into a recommended rule change or not, all of those comments will be presented at the commission meeting in August, the August 15th meeting in reserve.
Okay.
Um, and those meetings, there was a commission meeting today. I don't know if you participated, but there's a Zoom link to those as well. And at that meeting, there will be opportunity both for what's called general public comment, which is just anything that's on anybody's mind. But there
Okay.
will also be, I believe there'll be an opportunity for comment specifically on fisheries rule issues. So
I'll
that
try to
is
keep an eye out
another
for the
way.
email.
That's a great way to like talking, there you're talking directly to all of the commissioners. So, again, I mean, email. helps make sure that, that we're interpreting your comment appropriately. I think that we are. Um, but, talking to the commission, you get to directly speak to those policymakers. Um, so, that would
I
be,
wrote down the email address. I haven't composed an email yet. I haven't thought it through a lot, and um, I was just kind of throwing out the idea. But now that it's in my head and I've been thinking about it for a little while, I'll try to see if I can. I don't know if you think I should just narrow in on a lake, and I don't know if there's any better luck with, a state park lake versus a like a national forest run one, or if you have any other suggestions like that.
I would say that, the ones that you feel like are the places that's what you want to see are what you should suggest. I mean, I don't really have any advice beyond that.
Well, to be honest, I wish the state would just go to a tremendous amount of it and maybe even stop supporting the idea of catch and keep everything, I watch the fishing report every week ever since I was a kid, All we do is encourage people to hold up big stringers of fish. And to be honest, we all know they're probably overcatching, and yeah, none of the kids probably caught any of those fish in the picture. So, you know, it's just maybe it's just time for a little bit of a culture change, as in it's not even a natural thing going out and fishing anymore, because all it is the fish you guys put in get taken out within a week or two. So it, if you guys weren't putting fish in, there wouldn't be a fish anywhere in this state, because everybody would take them all of them. They won't let anything stay here. So, you know, we have the San Juan. I appreciate that place a lot. And obviously it probably brings a lot of good business up in that area. Um, but I think it's time. Been in this state for about 50 years, so it just seems like it's time to. And I could see you guys are at least moving towards that direction with some of the red chili waters. Trust me, I notice a lot of places, you know, um, getting more regulations and more um, catch release areas, tackle restrictions, which is great. But sometimes it gets confusing for any area. Like people will bend the rules. They're like, oh, I didn't know it was in that area or that area. It'd be nice to just say this reservoir is just catch and release. And then you had your tackle restrictions. And, you know, when we had, there was, when this state used to get more water, there was more fisheries we would go to that had bigger fish. And now, what was that one in Vegas that you guys had near Vegas, New Mexico, that kind of got dried up? Or I think they had put in,
McAllister.
yeah, McAllister, what a great lake. And there was Acomita Lake, which was um, an Indian kind of like casino run lake. That was great, but a lot of these places are kind of drying up. Well, a lot of the lake reservoirs are drying up. So,
Yeah, water is a challenge. So we do have another participant, so I think we will run through the presentation
oh,
real
okay.
quick.
All right.
Dave Valente, could you turn sharing on? Oh, there we go. Thank you.
No problem. I'm gonna go ahead and mute Adrian again. That way you can.
Okay, thank you. All right, hi, welcome to the public meeting for proposed changes to the fisheries rule and the fisheries relevant section of the manner and method rule. I appreciate those few of you who are participating tonight. I appreciate your time on a Friday night. I am Mike Rule. I am the Assistant Chief for Fisheries for Research and Management here with the department. I'll let my partner in crime here introduce himself.
Evening, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for coming. My name is Matt Ziegler. I'm the Sportfish Program Manager.
Okay, so I am going to talk a little bit about what we're doing and what this process looks like, and then Matt will talk about the rule changes that have been proposed so far. I really want to start out by mentioning two things. We are pretty early in this process, and we are really here to encourage comment. So the fisheries rule, like a lot of New Mexico State Game Commission rules, exists on a 4-year cycle. So we are currently in a 4-year rule cycle that expires March 31st of 2026. So that means by the new license year, April 1st of 2026, we need to adopt a new fisheries rule so that there are regulations to guide fishing in the state of New Mexico. There is another rule connected to the fisheries rule, which is the manner and method rule. That rule covers a lot of things, both hunting and fishing related, but we are looking at just the fisheries relevant section of the manner and method rule for the purposes of tonight's meeting. This process kind of has it formally started at the April 25th Game Commission meeting in Roswell, where the chief of the Fisheries Division, Kirk Patton, presented some initial ideas about potential changes to the State Game Commission. We are right now accepting comments and encouraging comments on any ideas about changes to the fisheries rule or the fisheries relevant section of manner and method. What we will do is, as those comments come in, we will review all of them and we will look at them for potential changes to propose to the Game Commission at the August 15th meeting in Reserve, New Mexico. So as comments come in, we review them. If they are proposals that we feel like are appropriate, we will include them in those potential rule changes. After the August 15th meeting in Reserve, we will publish a proposed rule in the New Mexico Register. We expect that to happen on September 23rd. When that publishes, it will begin an official comment period, another comment period of at least 30 days. We encourage comment during that period as well. And then finally, there will be a rulemaking hearing on November 7th in Los Alamos, New Mexico, again, before the New Mexico State Game Commission. Essentially, the opportunity that's in front of us right now to comment is one opportunity. At either of the meetings listed on this slide, you can go or virtually attend the State Game Commission meeting and comment there. And you can also comment again during that 30-day official comment period. All of the comments that we receive now, we will summarize, and those will be part of the presentation to the August 15th State Game Commission meeting. Go ahead, Matt. So there's kind of three main things that we want to do this evening. The first one is provide information on what was in the initial proposal for rule changes. The second is answer questions, but the most important one is to encourage comment, both about what's been proposed or about anything that you want to see proposed. The very best way, and the way that I will encourage a couple times before the presentation's over, is to send the comments by email. The email address is up there. We will put it up again and leave it up at the end of the meeting. You can also comment by mail, and our address is there for that as well, and that will also be posted again. We will do our best to capture oral comments tonight, but again, I really encourage you, if you have comments, to write them down either in a letter and attach it to an email or directly in an email. Those come to Matt and I and others here in the Fisheries Division right away. And that is the best way to get those comments in front of us. With that, I will let Matt describe the proposals as they stand.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, so we're going to start off with the proposed changes to the fisheries rule. And the first proposed change is a clarifying of the definition of barbless lure or fly. So this definition is found in both the fisheries rule as well as the manner and method of taking. And there are some slight discrepancies between those two definitions and those two rules. So we are going to try and clarify them, clean up those discrepancies, and make sure we completely clarify what is an artificial lure and what is an artificial fly. We're also proposing to remove references to ice fishing restrictions for specific waters. Again, this rule is found in both fisheries rule as well as the manner and method of taking. In both places, they had a list of lakes where ice fishing was prohibited, but the list did not match exactly in both rules. So the plan there is to remove those specific water bodies and just make it so that the language clearly states that ice fishing is allowed unless otherwise prohibited. And then also in the fisheries rule, we are proposing some special trout water designations. The first one is Jack's Creek, which is located in San Miguel County. So it is currently a special trout water and what we call a red chili water. If you look in the rules, we don't specifically describe it as red chili. We don't use that wording. We use that in our rule and information book. But a red chili water is a catch and release stream where you can use artificial fly or lures with a single barbless hook. So this water is already listed as that. What we're proposing is change it to what we call a red chili native trout conservation water. And that will be catch and release for Rio Grande cutthroat trout using artificial fly or lure with a single barbless hook, and then unlimited bag for rainbow trout, brown trout, and brook trout. And we're proposing that change because there's a barrier at the bottom of this stream, and we recently found brown trout above that barrier and in the Rio Grande cutthroat trout population. The next stream is Rio Chiquito. This would be a new special trout water. We are again proposing this one as a red chili native trout conservation stream. So catch and release for Rio Grande cutthroat trout using artificial fly or lure with single barbless hook, and then unlimited bag for rainbow trout, brown trout, and brook trout. This is a newly discovered Rio Grande cutthroat trout population that also has brown trout within the area where Rio Grande cutthroat trout occur. And then the last and third special trout water that we're proposing to designate is Rio San Antonio, near Lagunitas Lakes in Rio Arriba County. We're proposing the section of the Rio San Antonio and all the tributaries upstream of Forest Service Road 93 to be a red chili native trout conservation special trout water. Again, catch and release for Rio Grande cutthroat trout, unlimited bag for rainbow trout, brown trout, and brook trout. And this is another recently discovered population of Rio Grande cutthroat trout that also has brown trout within the area where they are occurring. And really, these designations are so that the public can also participate in conservation of Rio Grande cutthroat trout. Okay, moving over to the manner and method of taking proposed changes. So as I mentioned in the fisheries rule, clarifying the definition of barbless lure or fly so that the definitions in fisheries and manner and method of taking match each other and consistent, as well as removing the references to ice fishing regulations for specific waters. So again, that would match what is in the fisheries rule. We are also proposing to clarify trout line use in Class A lakes and water bodies generally inaccessible to the public. So this is a change from what the rule is already, not changing where trout lines can be used, but just making sure it's clear that you can use them in Class A lakes and water bodies generally inaccessible to the public. We are also proposing to prohibit using bait fish within the BLM overflow wetlands. This is a native fish conservation area near the Pecos River near Roswell. And this is part of conservation for Pecos pupfish. And then we're also proposing to add Jackson Lake Wildlife Management Area to the list of locations where electric boat motors can be used. Currently, you can't use a boat motor at Jackson Lake, and this would allow you to use an electric motor to fish with a boat there. And then the last proposed changes for the manner and method of taking is one, a clarification of something, of a rule that's already in there, as well as a new rule. And this has to do with the director's authority to temporarily open or close water. So the first one is the clarification of the rule that's already in there, and that would be for a temporary suspension of bag limits, possession limits, size limits, and manner and method of taking. This authority could be used to remove invasive species in periods of drought or other conditions that may be affecting the population, or to support some type of urgent management action. So example of this would be the recent discovery of smallmouth bass in Eagle Nest Lake. And then the new proposed rule is a temporary closure of the fishery or an alteration of manner and method of taking under certain conditions. And that would be something, a population decline that we would want to limit take or limit a bag or possession limit for that stream. And so a good example of that would be a wildfire in a Gila trout population where, you know, that population could have declined and we want to limit the angling there while that population recovers. And so both of those changes would occur for a 6-month period. And then that 6-month period, we chose that because we expect by the end of that 6 months, the issue would have resolved themselves and, you know, limits would return to normal, or we would, you know, pursue a more permanent rule change through a rulemaking process through the normal commission process.
All right, thanks, Matt. So I'll kind of wrap this up. I'm just going to repeat myself a little bit. Well, actually, so all of the documents related to the changes that we're talking about can be found on our website, www.wildlife.dgf.nm.gov. There, if you go to the tab that says Connect and go over on the right side under Commission, you'll see a tab that says Proposals under Consideration. When you open that up, you'll see all of the rules that the Commission is currently considering. Click on the Fisheries rule and all of this information will come up, the rules themselves with the changes that we're proposing to make. As I mentioned before, a couple of important dates. We will officially propose a set of changes to the Commission at the August 15th meeting in reserve. Those proposed changes will then be published in the New Mexico Register. Hopefully on September 23rd, there will be that official 30-day comment period. And then there will be a rule-making hearing at the New Mexico State Game Commission meeting on November 7th in Los Alamos. And then again, I just want to encourage comments by email is just the very best way to do it. If you would like to send us mail instead, there's the address. And we'll leave this up for a while so that you can capture those and we can move on to comments or questions. I think that there are 2 of us from Game and Fish on and 2 participants that we've already been speaking to Mr. Baca. But if you want to say anything, go ahead, raise your hand and Valente will unmute you and we'll have a talk.
Alrighty, Adrian, you are good to talk.
Thanks. Sorry, this is a little off subject again, but I was fishing at Morphy Lake not too long ago, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but that lake has been full of goldfish for, I don't know, a long time, probably about 10 years, and now it's pretty wild over there. There's a lot of goldfish. I'm not saying it's affecting the fishing, but I don't know if it's gonna get to that point here really soon where it might, and if you guys have considered any kind of action against those fish.
Yeah, thank you for that. We are aware of that issue. Obviously not a rule issue, but we've been talking about in other places like in Kamado Lake. We've had good luck with tiger muskie to control goldfish. So that might be an option. It's very hard to remove them physically, which we learned at Kamado Lake a long time ago. But no, thanks for the comment. That you're absolutely right. That is an issue, and it's something that I think in the last meeting I mentioned the statewide fisheries management plan. That is totally separate from this rule cycle, but that is a tool that we use to address those kinds of issues that aren't rule related. And I think that as we move towards a revision of that, which will happen probably in another year or two, we'll be proposing solutions to that goldfish problem in Morphy Lake.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, I'll end it there, and you guys have a good weekend. And I don't know if the other guy wants to speak, but you guys go ahead. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate the participation.
Yeah, sure.
Valente, any other hands up?
None at all.
Okay. Going once, going twice. We'll consider this meeting adjourned. Thanks again to those of you who did participate. We really appreciate it. We really do encourage you to comment, participate at the commission meetings, etc. We want the feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you.